Gotta remove YouTube from the stream. What is up? What is up? Welcome to the JCF, the Just Can't Fail stream. I am your host, Coach Daris Wilson, and this is where we turn your failures into lessons and your lessons into your success. Super duper excited to have you, okay? And so make sure you head over to streamyard.com/Facebook. That way, and click the blue button, okay? When you do that, that's just gonna allow your comments when you engage with us to come up as yourself, as your name, and not come up as a Facebook user. So we wanna make sure that we can shout you out, let us know where you're tuning in from, okay? So I wanna thank you for giving us your time, giving us your ears, giving us your attention, okay? And so whether you're watching this live or whether you are on the replay, please do let us know where you're tuning in from, okay? And so, again, let's make sure we head over to streamyard.com/Facebook. Just click the blue button, okay? And while you're doing that, once you're done with that, please just take like 3 seconds, 4 seconds of your time. Click on the share button. Click some likes, some love buttons, but share this most importantly, okay? I think we're gonna have some awesome content tonight for you that you can benefit from, but also you can also benefit your network. So everyone is rising together and leveling up together, okay? So make sure you head over to streamyard.com/Facebook and share this. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we're gonna get ready to rock and roll in just a moment. Super duper excited. Before I bring her on, Courtney Roselle I met her at Black House. She was a coach there. Love the energy, love the knowledge. And I always have love former athletes, right? Like myself, Division I college football player. She played college basketball. Shout out to Central PA as well. I went to Bucknell. She went to the University of Scranton, not too far from one another. So with that being said, I want to welcome Courtney Roselle to the show.
I'm here.
Yes, you are. And so Courtney Roselle is the most recent winner of the title Titan of the East from the show The Titan Games on NBC with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. She owns her own company called Iron Grace, which includes fitness training, a clothing line, motivational speaking, and fitness modeling. She has been an athlete her entire life, playing every sport possible. Growing up, being the youngest of 5 brothers and a sister, it was easy to grow up as a feminine tomboy, and ended up pursuing a basketball career for 4 years at the University of Scranton. Again, shout out to Central PA. After graduating, she took on the sport of CrossFit in 2013 and never looked back. She has been a coach for 8 years now and has competed across the country in multiple CrossFit sanctioned events and competitions. In addition, she has been published in multiple media outlets for fitness modeling and has written multiple health articles, including in Vogue, Self Magazine, Shape, Women's Health, MyFitnessPal, etc. Her certifications include CrossFit Level 1 trainer, Certified Functional Strength Coach, USA Weightlifting Coach, and NASM CPT. Courtney trains various clients from athletes to kids to everyday gym goers, trying to find the strongest version of themselves. Her main passion through her brand, Iron Grace, is motivational speaking to fellow entrepreneurs, young athletes on finding their authentic selves, becoming the best version of themselves, body positivity, and overcoming opinions of doubt set by popular demand.
Yeah. Long introduction, I apologize.
It's okay. Hoping to incorporate her tagline, "Be strong, live confident," into her everyday clients. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think one of the things that pop off always is your presence and your energy. And so with that being said, let's talk about your origin story. I think all coaches are superheroes, okay? And so talk to me about your in 60 seconds. Give me your superhero origin story. Like, how did you get here?
How did I get here? Oh my Lord, it's more than 60 seconds. I'm gonna try. Basically, I was an athlete growing up. I was, an athlete, but a feminine tomboy. Was trying to, be more feminine than tomboyish. Went into the modeling industry. Got denied by the modeling industry 30 times over for saying I was too masculine. I'm too athletic. No little girl wants to look like me. And it kind of set me off into trying to prove people wrong, perseverance, and, bringing out the best in others and kind of letting other people know my journey so they can lead a more healthier journey of mine, kind of sharing my story. It's kind of like in the shortest version for 60 seconds. Boom. Got it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I'll come back to that. So talk to me, what's one word that describes you?
Perseverance. And perseverance and authentic, I would say both of them. Yeah. I never stop, and I always am myself. It doesn't matter who I'm in front of. But I am always my authentic self because I believe that people attract to authenticity. Yeah. So and also brings out the best in people. So I always try to be myself, but perseverance too. Absolutely. I'll give myself 2 words. Sorry.
I'll take it. Take it. Titan of the East. I have to take it, right?
Yeah.
So I want to speak, like, why has it been authentic and being true to yourself? Why is that so important to you?
I just think a lot of people try to live inside a box that they're not used to. And when you do that, when you do not have your authentic self, you just don't bring out the best in others. You'll bring out the best in yourself. So one of my things is love yourself, you love others. It's a domino effect. And I think the world needs that nowadays. And without doing that, if you're not authentic to yourself, you can't have that happen in my head at all. And I just think people need to love themselves a lot more and love others. And a lot of things would be problem solved in this world. Just my personal opinion.
Absolutely. And what are some steps that some folks can take to love themselves more if like they're stuck? I know that, confidence and being strong, and I definitely want to touch on that, what that mean. But like, how can someone do that if they're stuck with, the negative self-talk, just, maybe the lack of confidence, the lack of self-esteem?
So some of the smallest things I do, and I even do it for myself. So I leave Post-its on my mirror of like quotes to start my day. Because if you look at I even leave it on the background of my phone. My favorite quote is on the background of my phone. Okay. Because if you have it constantly in your face, there's no deviating from anything else. Like, that's why I only surround myself with the strongest people in the room. I know people say that, but when you surround yourself with the most authentic, strongest people, you can't deviate from anything else. And it's the same as looking at something every single day. You can't deviate because it's in your face constantly. And I think a lot of people are instant gratification type of people. That's why we scroll on Instagram like crazy. So, put that positive energy in your face all day, every day. Surround yourself with it all day, every day. Also, too, I think a lot of people just need to do something they love every single day. And that could be from fitness to your favorite hobby to spending friends with family. People might not feel so confident about their jobs or like what they do every day, meaning when it comes to a job. I love my job, so I can't say that. But then take time for yourself, whatever you enjoy, like 5 to 10 minutes, and it will automatically like shift your mood.
Yeah. So. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, talking about quotes, is from motivational speaker Jim Rohn. He has a quote that you work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I buy into that wholeheartedly because I believe if you're better, you happier, you whole, you're healthier, better energy, like whatever you touch is going to be better. Right.
Well, you can't help others if you can't help yourself.
Absolutely. 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 So Courtney, what was it like growing up for you? Like, was there any emphasis on like health and fitness? Like how did you? What was kind of like the start, the jump start of you, being fit and athletic and healthy?
Yeah, so I grew up. I'm the youngest of four brothers. Everybody, I always type by accident. I always send the bio for five. Four brothers and a sister. That's why I have five siblings. So
Five
four brothers
siblings.
and a sister, and I
Got
grew
it.
up in athletics. My dad was actually a Navy SEAL in Vietnam, so he is, you know, he sets the level high. So I grew up also too, like having four older brothers. I wanted to connect with my dad. He connected on sports on all levels. So I became very tomboyish and very like, I need to be in every sport. I wanted to play football so bad and my mom would not let me. She was like, you need to be in cheerleading. And I was like, dang it. But I wanted to play every sport possible just to connect with my family and my brothers all around. And even like all my cousins were huge athletes.
Yeah.
So I just grew up in that environment of like, not just competitiveness, but just like love for sport and making yourself better. Also, my mom was the reason I wanted to connect with my dad so much is my mom was a single mom growing up. So we had split time. And I always, again, wanted to connect my dad through sports. So he would come watch my games and do certain
Yeah.
things. So that's exactly how it rolled out. And when my mom was a single mom, our babysitters was thrown into sports. You know, like she had to work a 9 to 5 job and she had to go get a second job to put food on the table for me and my brothers and stuff. So she made sure that like I was thrown in activities and that was the best thing she did. So
Yeah.
I ended up,
Tie
just having
y'all,
to do that.
tie your asses out.
Yeah. She was like, you will go play basketball because I had to work till like 7 o'clock at night. And then, but I ended up loving it, and it's the best thing that happened. And she taught me what hard work really means. And
Yeah.
my mom is one of my biggest role models. She is strong, unstrong. So
Awesome. 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 And so what sort of belief systems that came along with that? Like like the mentality. Talk a little bit about your mentality around health and fitness. In as a coach.
as a coach, well, and mostly, so I also do health and fitness, and a lot of it comes with the Be Strong, Live Confident tagline. I
Yeah.
do believe if you are taking care of yourself in health and fitness, you are the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Strength and physically. I know it's crazy to say, but I tell people this all the time. When I walk into business meetings, and it doesn't matter if I'm a guy or a girl is meeting with me, they take me very, very seriously. And it's because of how I look so strong, because they know how much discipline it takes for
Yeah.
me to be what I am today.
Yeah.
And so when I walk into a room, they're like, oh my God, she needs business. Because they just look at my and like, that's why I want to stress to everybody. I know a lot of women like run away from like muscles and strength. But I'm telling you, like, when I walk into a room, they don't say like, oh my God, she's strong for a girl. She's serious for a woman. They're like, oh, she's serious. Oh, she's strong. And they just have and that to me is like the overall gender neutrality of just being like, you are here for business is very empowering
Yeah.
across the board.
Ooh, let's unpack this. Let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, like when men take me very seriously, it doesn't matter. Like they know I lift a lot of weight, they know my personality, and every woman and man in the room will take me very, very seriously, and that to me is very empowering.
Yeah. And I do want to, because I want to speak to the people that may have any hangups around quote unquote lifting heavy weight and being strong and looking strong and being muscular. How do you approach?
I was like, what are you trying to get over here?
So how do you have that? How can you, I guess, how can someone, more specifically a woman, that's been my, that's a conversation I've had with far more women than men about lifting weights and building muscle and being lean. Like, how do you, if you have a client or potential client who may have, may be afraid of getting bulky or lifting weights, like how do you get that point across and that philosophy across with him or her?
Yeah. I spit straight facts, like straight facts. Meaning, number one, like I tell I even have my 14-year-old client, she's a girl, and I tell her to do curl, and she's like, I just don't want those arms, like those bulky arms, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girl, do you know how many guys are looking at you in the room right now being like, look at that girl curling? Like, your confidence of you being able to lift attracts others. But I just spit scientific facts. So I tell my clients all the time, if I weigh the same amount as you and you and me do the same workout, but I have more muscle, I'm automatically burning more calories than you.
Yeah.
At rest, me chilling right now, I'm burning more calories than the average human being because of all the muscle I have.
Yeah.
I just like try to spit as much scientific fact as possible. And when men or women talk about bulkiness, I'm like, let me tell you something. Okay. They took a lot of work to get to where they are today. And let me tell you, they don't look at themselves like that. So you probably should watch your wording. If you ever said that to them, they would be like, okay, try to do what I do every single day.
Yeah.
So I always just try to be like, look at what they do. You know how hard it takes for them to get there? Do you know the discipline it takes for them to get there? So really, really watch your wording. They want to look like that. But I always, again, just spit like straight scientific facts of how much muscle, you know, like how much it could create, the definition in your body. You know, I weigh the same amount as I do. I look almost, I'm not even kidding, 15 to 20 pounds thinner, but I weigh the same, but just because of all my muscle mass.
Right. Yeah.
Like you would be like, oh, you are not the same way. I'm like, oh, I am the same.
Right. And so I get a lot. People think that muscle weighs more than fat. It's not that muscle weighs more than fat. It's a lot more dense, right? So I always use the analogy. If I had 5 pounds of cotton balls versus 5 pounds of steel, they would both be 5 pounds, but the cotton balls would probably take up this entire room just to get 5 pounds of it. While muscle, 5 pounds can fit in the palm of my hand, right?
Right.
So there's so many benefits, and I love having you on that and sharing that when it comes to building lean muscle. And I was quoted in an article at the I think it was early 2020 or at the end of 2020. I'm sorry, the end of 2019, and it talked about the best ways to anti-age. And the latest research to anti-age is by building muscle. And so this is something I try to get across as well, is that if we're wanting to be healthy, if we're wanting to, we do a lot of cosmetic things, but the best thing you can do for yourself is by lifting weights and being strong.
Yeah. And I always tell women, especially when they go on big weight loss journeys. So I'm trying to best explain this. When you lose, fat, but you don't replace it with anything with muscle, it's very easy to come back. It's like taking something out of a box and then not filling it back up. But imagine taking something out of a box and then filling it with like dense metal. It's going to be very, very, very hard to go back to what you were. Yes. Like I tell people that all the time. Everybody always has to watch what they eat, but like it's very hard for me to go back to looking how I did, 5 years ago because of all the muscle that I have. It takes up space, but it takes up very dense space. Yes. So it's not empty. That's like the best way I can describe it. It's not an empty box anymore. It's filled with like concrete. So good luck trying to get there.
Also, Courtney, what are some things you're interested in outside of fitness? Like, what do you do in your downtime?
Truly, it might sound like crazy, but I love, love, love spending time with my family and my friends. Like, I work like a workhorse. So I'm not a big like club goer, going out, lounges or anything like that. I love like small dinners with my family, small dinners with my friends. My friends know me very, very well like that. Like, do not throw me into a bar, please. I do not do well. I just love spending quality time with people I love. It's like so therapeutic to just let the energy out of the day and they just love me for who I am. And, I'm not in fitness trainer mode. It's my favorite thing to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Being a trainer, when you are having those down moments with your family, are there little remarks that pass the table, or maybe that used to about, oh, she's not going to eat that, or no, she won't have that? You know how Courtney is. Any of those things?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happens. But like, I also tell all my clients and all my people, like, just be happy and healthy. Yeah. Like when it's my birthday, I'm having cake. So like, I just also live in that 80-20 rule. It's going to make you happy and healthy. Yeah. I get comments all the time. I even get comments from like restaurant owners. Like if I order like chocolate chip pancakes, like, you're really going to eat that? Like a waitress. I'm like, yeah. Is that okay by you? Is that okay? I get comments all the time, but I just take it, and like, I take it as a compliment. I look a certain type of way. I look in shape. So thank you for even, recognizing that. But yes, I am going to eat those chocolate chip pancakes. So.
Love it. And you play college basketball.
Yes.
University of Scranton.
Yes.
So what is it that you miss most about the sport and
the team camaraderie? Yeah. I love that. I'm a team athlete. I totally am. Even though I've competed in multiple CrossFit sanctioned events individually, which I loved. It definitely brought out very big mental gains to train by yourself and then compete by yourself is a whole different mental aspect.
Yeah.
Times 20. That's why I'm so glad I did it. But I'm very big on competing on teams. So I thrive on teams. I went to Wadapalooza last year on teams. I did Granite Games on teams. I thrive on working on teams. But I had to make sure I took myself out of my strength component and worked on my weaknesses to only make me a better athlete.
Yeah.
Like I had to do it for my mental capacity. I did it. I'm good. I'm over it. I'm back to working teams.
I hear that. And so I want to touch on something. And I have a thing that your weakness is your strength in fitness. There's so many things I think as an entrepreneur, and when you get into like entrepreneurship and business and you start, working with coaches, everyone talk about, work on your, don't work on your strengths, but do your strengths and delegate the weakness, right?
Yeah.
And I think when we think about our professional, even if you're not an entrepreneur, with our professional sort of life, that's always the thing. You bought into a job and you do a thing. And because you're doing that so often, you're doing those things, like obviously you develop the skill set and you become strong at it. And so I think it's just kind of like our nature to do the strengths, do the things that we're strong at, and then kind of delegate those weaknesses. But I think it should be the opposite when it comes to fitness. Like you really have to work on the weaknesses.
Yes.
And that was something that I worked on. Like with the ski machine at Black House and those sorts of things. Like when there was an opportunity to do cardio, even though I hated it, I always
hated it.
I always did those things. And that's kind of what it is now with like the Echo bike. I effing hate it. But I do it because like that's going to help me become more fit. It's going to just help me create a bigger engine. And so what are your thoughts around that? Like, what do you feel about your weaknesses and strengths? And
my personal weaknesses and strengths?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends, number one, what your goals are, obviously. Always it comes down to that. But always you should be working on your weaknesses. Your weaknesses only make your strengths better. Like a huge weakness I stress with my clients more than anything. So many people do not do enough unilateral movements. So unilateral meaning for, that because you're in the fitness world, for everybody else who's watching, meaning like lunges or one arm push presses or using opposite sides of your body. Like so many people can squat and they can't lunge. Yeah. And it's like mind boggling to me. I'm like, guys, if you make the separate parts separate, the togetherness is only going to become stronger.
Yeah.
Like I can't stress it enough how many people I am huge on unilateral movements to make bilateral stronger. Split squats, Bulgarian splits, like anything possible. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of please work on your weaknesses. It's only going to make anything better and stronger.
100%.
Everything your strengths are just going to become that much easier, which is going to be so much more fun. That's all I care about.
Absolutely. So as a former competitive athlete working, playing basketball, you eventually got introduced to CrossFit by your brother.
Yes.
Was your brother that worked out at Black House from time to time?
It was yes, he did. You met him?
Yes,
he squats 500 pounds, my brother. It's absurd. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And so what has the sport of CrossFit meant to you?
It's meant everything to me. It's changed my life 30 times over. I mean, it gave me body positivity, it gave me body acceptance. It gave me confidence, it gave me strength overall. I mean, that's how I got where, if I was never in the CrossFit arena, I wouldn't have my career that I have now. I would have never gone to the Titan Games. I would never went to WWE that went to the Titan Games. When I came out of college, I was working out, but I was going to Gold Gym for 3 hours and I couldn't do it. Again, I came from a team sport, like a group. I was always trained by a coach, trained by a team, trained by a trainer. Yep. So I was like, what is this? So my brother was like, there's this new thing called CrossFit. I was like, what is this? And so he took me to my first class and I was hooked because in CrossFit, you can choose to be competitive or you can choose there to be workout. And I'm a competitive athlete. So I was like, ooh, this is a competitive thing and it's done in 1 hour, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I just instantly fell in love with it. And again, growing up as an athletic female, again, I was denied by multiple modeling agencies. I can't tell you at the age of 13 being you're too muscular. No little girl wants to look like you at the age of 13. And in the CrossFit arena, I mean, strength of women is celebrated times 30. I mean, the Matt Frazier brings in the most viewings, but there's 7 top girls right now who are bringing the most viewings for the Open. It's the women division because it's absolutely wild. It's very much celebrated because people cannot believe that these women do what men do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very, very fortunate. My job is in that arena again because it's in my face 24/7. So when I go outside of my arena into, I'm not saying the everyday world, but the everyday world, and they look at me with like 5 heads, I'm like, oh my God, this is not what people think. Like, people think that men are still stronger than women in the everyday world, but we're on an equal level in my arena.
Yeah.
But it gave me a lot of body positivity. Again, I went out for modeling again when I was like 27. They told me, a modeling agency personally called me and was like, come into the city. I was so excited. I went with my brother. I was like, this is it. I'm going to get it. And they brought me in. The only thing they told me, they wanted to say to my face that no little girl would ever want to look like me when they flip a page. So they're like, no girl wants to flip a page in a magazine and even want to look like you.
Yeah.
And thank God I was in the CrossFit arena because I was like, you know what, forget this. Instead of being broken at the age of 13, at the age of 27, I was like, please, I don't need this. Like, if they don't want me, then it's fine. I'm going to show them how it is. Then 6 months later, my mom went to the US Open, ended up sitting next to the assistant editor of Vogue. And she was like, I'm here to book fitness models. And my mom shows her a picture of me. And it's like, my daughter's a fitness model. And the assistant editor of Vogue literally stopped in her chair and was like, I've been looking for a girl like this because no fitness model looks like as strong as her. No, like, you know, fitness models are still very much on like the tinier side. And she's like, I need someone who looks strong and it can actually do the things of like lifting weights. And I need this for the magazine. So all those modeling agencies that denied me, I'm talking over 30, that told me no little girl wants to look like me. Vogue was my first booked gig. And then when Vogue hit, all of a sudden all of them came out of the woodworks. It was like, oh wait, you worked with us before? I was like, yeah, you told me that this would never happen. They're like, well, we're taking that back.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's just like you need one person to believe in what you believe in. If you keep on living it and dream it and keep on speaking it, it comes out into the universe. Somebody's gonna be like, yeah, we're about her. We're about her.
And this is perseverance loading, right? Load it, right? So
yeah.
that's the thing
And that story is exactly what got me to WWE. They found me on the internet. WWE was like, come down, be a diva. And then when the Titan Games reached out through WWE, that's what got, like, The Rock told the producers, I want that girl to be on my show because I want my daughters to know exactly what she's like.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? So that's exactly, it's all about the story, and it led me to exactly where I am today.
Awesome. Awesome. So now as a CrossFit coach of 8 years, 8+ years, right?
I've been a CrossFit coach for 6. I've been doing CrossFit for 8.
Got it. So now as a CrossFit coach, what are the things that you try to instill into your members and your clients and athletes?
Confidence, and more confidence.
Yeah.
I can't stress that mental health is an issue in this world today. I can't express that. Mentality, not even if you have an issue or not, is just, I would say 80% of everybody's battle. So I say, like, when you get on that barbell, that is a mental strength that a lot of people in this world will only wish to do. And so I stress that in every single class of mine. I'm like, you showed up today. Let's go. You lifted that weight. Let's go. Like, your mental capacity already surpassed everybody else who's sitting at home not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You have the discipline to be here, because when motivation runs out, discipline carries you every single day.
100%.
And that discipline always benefits everybody's mental capacity. So I always stress, that's why my tagline's be strong, live confident, because I can't stress that enough more than anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you spoke about mentality, like mindset. Why do you feel mindset is so important?
Mindset, because I mean, it's like, oh God, what's that called? If you tell yourself you can't do something, you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like just that simple. If you literally tell yourself before you lift that barbell, or if you go out on stage and you're like, I can't do this, you already lost.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself, like, I'm here to go, everybody else also feels everybody else's energy. So again, when I like walk into a room or the business meeting, or I'm in a Sears interview again with the freaking Titan Games producers, I am like, I'm here to stay. You better listen to what I have to say. Like, that's how I present myself.
Yeah.
If you present yourself every way, everybody's like this in the room.
Yeah.
They're just like, and that's why I tell women all the time, they're like, oh, I don't look a certain way. I'm like, if you walk in there like you own the place, everybody's going to listen. Like everybody, my energy is very contagious. That's what everybody says about me, and I totally appreciate it. But that's what I want. I want my presence to be felt in the room, because just because you're the strongest athlete in the room does not mean you're most impactful athlete in the room. And I want to be the most impactful athlete in the room every single time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Where does that moxie come from?
Oh my God, I would say I grew up in a very matriarchal family. Women run my life. My mom, my cousins. The one thing that was great growing up is the women in my life. I mean, they are very, very strong. They're very, very impactful. And even when modeling agencies were denying me times 30, or, boys growing up were like, you're too masculine. They were just like, just wait, girl. Just wait until you are yourself. Everybody's going to be attracted to it. Stay your strong, true self. And they couldn't be more, because they're very, very strong personalities. And then they say what's on their mind. If you are not speaking loud enough, you're not heard in my family. We are very Italian. So, that's what it just comes from. It literally just comes from what I'm raised around. And I couldn't be more thankful to be raised around very, very strong women.
Got it. Awesome. The matriarchs. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is jump into our rapid fire.
Oh my God.
So, and that's what it is, rapid fire, Court. So, don't give a lot of thought to it.
Okay.
I say the first mind is the right mind. So let's jump in. Ready?
Okay.
All right, cool. So name 3 things that are most important to you.
Family, friends, and leaving a mark in this world.
Why?
I don't want to ever go into my last years of life with regret and with no love around me. Like, I think that's what's going to carry you on in life. It's like your strongest people and no regrets.
Awesome. What is something you do daily to like level up your mindset, to get your mind right?
I kind of said it before, but like I have those quotes on my mirror. I like look at them, stare at them. They are in my face. And again, on my phone. That's what I do absolutely daily. And I also talk to the people I love like first thing in the morning, because they always, like, if I'm feeling any type of way, they always bring me right back up.
Love it. What is your biggest failure in life to this point?
I don't believe in failure. I believe in redirection.
Love it.
I do not believe in failure. I believe in redirection. You better fail to redirect.
So learn something. That is the epitome of this show, is that the failures, quote unquote, are the lessons, and that's how we drive success.
Yes. Yeah, you better take it and run with it. Bad and good and worst in between happens for a reason. You better redirect.
Absolutely. Awesome. What's the best book you've read?
It was actually Katrin David's daughter book. I just read it like over a year ago. It's a famous athlete in the CrossFit arena, her bio. It talks about her mental game. Woof. Everybody, what separates a professional athlete from another athlete is their mental game, like their reaction time and what they could do with themselves with. It is amazing.
Yeah.
So her book is awesome.
We can go on and on about that in everyday life, and whether you're an athlete or not. The mental game, the story between it is the biggest part to it.
Right.
What is your favorite quote? You kind of jumped on that, but share. Now you got to share what's on your screen now.
I know, it's on my phone screen, like right here. If you give them the power to feed you, you give them also the power to starve you. So I don't you should always you need to be the strongest asset at the end of the day. You, and more you. If you give somebody else the power, even the slightest thing, I say the new addiction in this world is Instagram and social media. If you give social media the power to control you, also give the power to starve you.
Yeah.
Something so simple. So you need to make sure that nothing starves you at the end of the day. You're here.
So let's say that quote one more time.
If you give someone the power to feed you, you also give them the power to starve you. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what's the hardest thing you ever had to do in your life?
Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh God, this is rapid fire. I'm trying to think. Truthfully, just overcoming obstacles of just being myself and people accepting it And like, you know, when people are firing me at my body, there's nothing I could do to change it. So it's not like, mind you, I can change maybe physically like a little bit, but when someone's constantly coming at you because of how you look every single time, it is daunting sometimes. Like I train some women in my arena and I'm a coach, and they literally, the first thing they say, they're like, I want to be fit, but I just don't want to look like you. You know what I mean? But what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And I'm just like, and then by the end of the session, they're like, I want to lift 200 pounds. And I'm like, oh, you didn't want to look like me. You know what I mean? But it's very hard to be in your face, daunted every single day just by how you look.
Yeah. And how do you, like, what is your mental game like to overcome that?
Surround myself with people that are here to feed off my weaknesses and anything. You know, I gravitate towards people that are stronger than me in certain aspects, down to the simple fact of like, when it comes to like finances and money, like I don't know it. So I make sure that I have people on my team that know everything about business and everything between. I do not try to act like I'm the best in the room. I'm like, I have certain friends. If I'm feeling down about myself about certain things, I know exactly who to call to make sure they put me in a different mindset.
Yeah.
And when it comes to my family, sometimes it's not my mom all the time. I'm like, she's going to drive me nuts. So I'll call my aunt. But I make sure that I have the best people to pick me up every single time. Please. I can't stress it enough to have certain people around you.
Absolutely. And that may be a call to action for some of us.
Yeah.
Watching, tuning in, you know. So if you know, there may be some folks where it's time to edit some relationships. There's some relationships we can't get rid of, and that's fine. But we can always edit relationships. All right, gang. So make sure you take heed to that. So Courtney, thank you so much for crushing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we're not done yet. We just thank you for the rapid fire.
Oh God. Okay. Good. I'm not done yet. I
want to talk about your work that you do with body positivity. I think you have a wonderful, beautiful testimony. But I want to unpack it because I think that is something, like you said, in order for us to give love, we got to love ourselves first, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing with like hurt people. You know, if we can kind of flip that paradigm and getting more people to love themselves, then I think we can give more love.
Yes.
And so, you know, you do it, you know, you speak to young adults about body positivity. Like, why is this message so important to you? Why does it be heard?
Especially for like young women, man, it's because I mean, social media was the best thing that happened. It was also the worst thing that happened, right? Like everybody is comparing themselves to somebody else. And the first thing they're comparing on is their body and their looks. It is like so instant gratification. It is so wild. So I stress body positivity more than anything. I speak to Girl Scout troops. I speak to high school girls, you know, and when you feel good about yourself, it just brings out more confidence and more authenticity. And I always stress that in every one of my body positivity talks. You know, I'm like, you're strong. You are strong. You could do physical things that people can't even stress, like that can't even fathom what you do. You know, I spoke to Girl Scout troops recently, and it was the cutest thing. The mom sent me a video recently, and she was squatting. This 5-year-old girl, she was a Daisy troop, so it was really cute. And she started squatting every single day because she's like, I want to be strong like Courtney. And she's saving up all her chore money to buy the Courtney American Girl doll. And it's like it has nothing to do with me. I'm not the Courtney American Girl doll, but I'm not even. But it's just really, really, really cute that you can pass on and make someone else better, especially at such a young age, to feel good about like squatting and working out and like having muscles at such a young age, because then it's already in their mind and then it's automatic like muscle memory, or you engrave it.
Yeah.
So I love giving that back.
And I have a lifting weights. I started lifting weights. My high school football program is pretty serious.
Yeah.
And so I started lifting weights at 13, and that just hit a switch for me. Just the confidence that I gained from lifting weights. I'm very reserved and very
You are
introverted.
very reserved. Yes, you are.
I know. I think a lot of people, my members are, I think people see me coaching and I'm very kind of like go, go, go. But in my natural state, I'm very kind of low key and chill and, you know, just don't really say much, to be honest.
Yeah.
But when I started lifting weights, though, it's like it really gave me a confidence and it really boosts my self-esteem and my belief in my, you know, at that time in my athletic abilities, which transferred over to like the classroom and transferred over to so many other things that I was doing at that time. So like I stand on that wholeheartedly, is that getting physically strong and lifting weights and the mentality that comes with it, because there's going to be adversity you face under the bar, right? And so like having those repetitions of like the challenges and the failures and, you know, the sticky spots like that really gave me a level of confidence that's with me today. You know, so I love what you're doing there, and I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think it just like even into the workplace, you know, I started working in the New Jersey Devils and I was just still getting into CrossFit and stuff. And I used to sit in the back of the room in the staff meeting, say nothing, keep to myself. All of a sudden, it was like a year or two in, my CEO, I'm like speaking up in staff meetings. My CEO's in the back. He's like, what? Like, why are you speaking? Because in my head, I went to CrossFit at 6:30 a.m. I'm now at work. I deadlifted 300 and something pounds. That's the hardest thing I did today. Trust me, speaking in front of this room ain't that hard. So I just became more myself and more energetic, like, you know, and more confident. Like, that's the hardest thing I did today. This is a breeze. And he was like, wow, okay. Okay. And then I started speaking up and everybody was like, oh, okay. And again, I'm just trying to pass off as much positive energy as possible. Because again, that is so contagious. I can't even describe it. So, and I believe in the fitness arena, the more you do it, the more positive energy you have to give off. So
100%. What does it mean to be strong and live confident? Like, what is that tagline? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I've been saying the whole time. Like, you're physically strong. That means you're mentally strong. That means you will live confidently. That's what I mean by it. It all translates. You know, I always think like physical to the mental to also the emotional and spiritual. I will say that under the mental guidance. It also definitely goes emotional and spiritual. And you just live more confident. It's like and like two of my athletes, I was looking for a tagline. They're actually from Black House, Allie and Keely. And I was looking for a tagline, and they're like, Courtney, like they literally said it out loud and they're like, that's you. Like, that's you. And I was like, be strong, live confident. I was like, oh my God, that's me. Like, so they helped me out, come out with the tagline. It's and they helped me set it off, and it was the best thing to happen.
Shout out to the clients, right?
Yes. Again, I surround myself with the best people. Like, they want me to succeed because of how much I help them succeed. People always want to give back. I always like stress that too. People are always scared to ask for help, but I feel like more people in this world want to give back than people think. So, yeah.
That's a lesson I'm still learning. I'm still learning to ask for help.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
But I'm getting there. I'm definitely much better. So it's something that's a weakness that I'm trying to build on and do a better job at. Tell me, what was the origin? We spoke about the origin of your your tagline. What's the origin? Where did Iron Grace come from? And those that don't know, Iron Grace is your business, your brand that you do. And so what's the origin of that?
So I am a very, very feminine tomboy. So when I was coming up with my brand, I was actually sitting down with my owner at the time, my boss at the time, Jason Schroeder. And
he was on the show several weeks ago, by the way.
Oh, he was on the show several weeks ago, which is so crazy. But I was sitting down with him. We were going back and forth brainstorming, and he's like, you stress yourself as a feminine tomboy. You stress yourself as a feminine tomboy. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, you were a basketball player. What do you love about basketball? I was like, I love about basketball that you have to be strong, but you have to be elegant. You have to be graceful. Yeah. And he's like, okay, let's like keep going off of that. And he's like, what about, when you're in the gym? I was like, I love the barbell. And he's like, okay. And I was like, oh my God, the barbell's made of iron grace. So and I love cleans and snatching. So when you lift a barbell, you need to be strong, but you better be graceful when you're lifting that barbell, or else you're not going to make the lift. I almost call cleaning and snatching like poetry in motion.
Yeah.
So that's what I came up with it. Like, iron, strong, graceful is my feminine side. And I think every male and female in this world has a feminine and masculine side. So that's why I stress that, or they have a strong side. and a little bit more of a graceful and elegant side. So that's how I came up with the name. That's exactly it. And it was like, just took off. Everybody's like, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah.
It's so fitting. I do love that. So
Yeah.
I wanna talk to me about Titan Games. Talk to me about WWE.
Oh,
Talk to me about
The Rock?
I can't do it. I can't do the eye.
I can't either.
So talk to me. And my son wanted me to ask this question. Like, how was it? My oldest son, Judah, shout out to Judah. He wanted me to ask, how was The Rock? So,
Okay.
I gave you a lot just now, but let's talk about it. Let's talk because WWE came first.
Yeah, WWE came first. I did that tryout.
Yep.
And there was Titan Games girls there from season 1. And this girl, Emily, and me became really, really cool with each other. And the first thing she said, she was like, you have to try out for the Titan Games. Like, they're going to love you. 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 And I was like, I don't know. But I was like, you know what? When I go home, what's the biggest thing that happens? They don't call me. I put my application in. She also reaches out to producers at the same time. Yes. So they found my application in the system was over 10,000 applicants. And they're like, we need to like speak to you. So I went through like 2 phone call interviews and a FaceTime interview. Until this started, because that was March, I was at WWE. That happened in September. By December, I got a phone call saying, like, we need you to come out to LA right now. We need to see you in person and then compete at a combine. Yeah. So sprints, to lift your deadlift, So when I went there, we were there with like over 80 athletes. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got chosen as like the top even 80 of people to be picked. But the reason I was picked was because of my story. And again, like the Vogue magazine and how I motivational speak to women. And, you know, The Rock is a girl dad. So he stresses women empowerment like you wouldn't believe, which I appreciate more than anything. Yep. So when I was competing during these events, you know, they wanted to see if you were athletic enough to compete the obstacles, but that's not the whole thing why you were there. First was your story that you can tell, like your personality that comes off on camera, and can you compete and go on camera in like 5 seconds and be able to like hold yourself together. So every time I compete in an obstacle, there's like a camera in my face like this, like, so tell me where you're from and what you're about. So they wanted to see like how you are and you can startle on camera. So thankfully, I've done like a lot of podcasts and a lot of interviews that I was like, all right, just contain my breath and like get it what you need to get out. And again, The Rock heard my story and he was like, I need my daughters to like see this girl and, you know, be about her. So, I mean, they called me like a week later. I was like one of the last calls. I was like, I didn't make it. And I was at Black House at the time. I was vacuuming the gym and they call me and they're like, Peter, he was like, I just want to tell you something, like, you're not going to be happy. And I was like, it's okay. I was about to cry. I was like, and he's like, you made it. You're coming to Atlanta. And Jay walks in. I'm like crying of enjoyment. He totally played me. Totally played me. He was like, Jay walks in. I was like, Jay, you're not going to believe it. He's like, what? I was like, I booked the Titan Games. And we were having our Christmas dinner. It was the delayed Christmas dinner with all the coaches. So then I came out that night and they're like, I'm just want to let you know I'm on the Titan Games. Mind you, though, that night I had to sign a contract, $1 million contract. I mean, saying that I would not tell anybody I was on the show. So
went out the window though.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell anybody I was on it couldn't get released by social media. If it got released by social media, then I was gonna be screwed. Right. So with the show. So they flew me out like a week later. I couldn't tell. I told my family and friends, like they could obviously know, and anybody, my bosses and the coaches, but like I left for a month and all the athletes were like, did Courtney move to Georgia? Like, I couldn't tell them why I was there. And I just had to be like, I have a job down here. Yeah. And then it came out like 5 months later. The pandemic hit 2 weeks after I got home from the Titan Games. And then 5 months later, everybody found out why I was down there.
Yeah.
So it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Yeah. I'm so glad I went out there outside my box and just applied. It's changed my life to a 180 like I couldn't believe. Yeah. I mean, you know, from followers on Instagram to people reaching me out all over the world, to my episode being premiered in Brazil, to Argentina, to London, to Italy, being like, you changed my daughter's life, you changed my life. Like, I mean, you can't put a dollar sign on that. Yeah. I didn't win overall. I won Titan of the East, But like, people were like, there was a grand prize. I was like, yeah, you won money if you won. They're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I won. Like, I feel it's like one of the most amazing experiences ever. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And a couple, tell your story, the takeaway, gang. Tell your story. Get your story. Everyone has one. Tell your story.
Get it out there.
And yes. And so put it out there for sure. And I need to know how was The Rock so I can report back to my son. I'm a girl and a boy dad. I need to report back to my son. How was The Rock?
Okay. Number one, he's huge. He is 275 pounds and he's 6'5" and he's one thing of muscle. So when he hugs me, I feel like I'm a child. So I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna break me? Like, he's a huge dude. I'm not even gonna lie. He also is one of the most authentic, genuine human beings you'll ever meet in your life. And I know everybody says it, but it's so true. He handpicked every single person on the show. So when you walk up there, he's like, what's up, Courtney from Jersey? I'm like, you know who I am? And he has a conversation, like, he wants you to be normal as possible. Yeah. And he goes off of that. And like, if I DM him, I say, I wish him a happy holiday still and everything like that. He instantly voice messages me like, next time I'm up in Jersey, I'm coming to see you. Like, he is very, very authentic and grateful for everything he has. He gives back to everybody who helped him in life.
Awesome.
Every single human being. They have this famous story that came out in People magazine, and he won't release how much money he gave. But when he was in WWE, he lived in a trailer with this guy and had no money. And this guy put him up in a trailer for years to like pursue his dreams. So now years later, during the pandemic, he calls this guy. This guy's like, I'm still living in that same trailer. I lost my job during the pandemic. I'm only making $10 an hour. He's like, you know what? Like, I just want to wire you some money for your bank account to get you some dinner tonight. Can you give me that? And he wired him enough money that he retired for life. And they won't release how much money he wired. But it's like such a great story that like he just gives back to anybody who helped him along the way. He remembers exactly where he came from and he treats you like that. So, yeah.
Funny story. I have a good friend of mine that played football with him at the University.
Really? At the U? Okay.
At the U, yeah. So, and I just talked to him on Wednesday night. So, but yeah, that's so I have to report back to Judah, let him know he is a good dude.
Oh my God. If he like met your son, he doesn't care. Like if you walked in and he like met your son, he'd like say hi to your son. He'd be like, what's up, my dude? Like he's just like that. He went straight up to my family. He's like, hi. Like my family was like freaking out. And they're like, how proud are you of this girl? Like this girl's amazing. Like he wants to know everything about you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Courtney, I want to thank you so much for giving us the time tonight. Almost nearly an hour of power. So I really appreciate that so much. And so before we go though, where can oh man, I have one more question.
Go with the question. Just do it. I can do this.
So what would you tell anyone, Courtney, that may be stuck in life, weight loss, life, goals, etc., right now?
You have to, you're stuck. Your feeling is happening for a reason. Do not forget how you feel right now, because when you go to climb that mountain and you reach the top, I want you to remember how you felt, because that's how you got there. Like I tell people all the time, people think of me as the strongest personality, but I also tell them I cried the most in the room, because if you don't know what weak feels like, you have no idea what strong feels like. So please hold on to that. Like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, guys, like I have stayed up at night. I've cried myself to sleep being like, am I going to make it? Am I going to be successful? Am I going to be able to put a roof over my head? But like being where I am today, I'm like, that's what it feels like to be weak. So I know what strong feels like now.
Absolutely. I love that. I love it. And I'm glad I asked that last question. So with that being said, Court, thank you so much. And where can our viewers find more about you?
Okay, there's multiple things. So irongracefitness.com, you can absolutely reach out to me. I actually just started a program called Strong. So strong-cc.com. I'm giving out like certain program and certain facilities and Brazen and stuff. But of course, Courtney Roselle on Instagram or Courtney Lynn on Facebook. I answer every single message. That is me answering, and I answer every single one of them. Even after the Titan games, I got 620 DMs, 620 after my premiere. And it took me a week, but I answered personally every single one of them. So I just want to always stress, if you need anything, I am here. I will answer. It might not be that minute, but I will answer. So
awesome. Court,
yes.
Thank you so much. I'm going to remove you from the stream, but you stay there. Don't you go anywhere.
Okay, I'm not going anywhere.
All right, Courtney. Thank you so much. And gang, huge shout out, huge round of applause for Courtney Roselle, Titan of the East. And so I want to thank her for such a beautiful spirit and energy that she shared with us tonight. And so, gang, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, giving us your time, your energy, whether you're watching this live, whether you watch this later on a replay. And so what I want to be able to offer, so we talked about being stuck. If you don't know what to do, how to do, what we're going to be doing is offering 7 days free of our app that we launched in November. And this will give you customized workouts with videos on what to do, how much to do, so you don't even just totally take the thinking away from you. You have an interval timer in there as well. So you don't need a timer or anything. Everything will happen inside of the app. So we just need you to text, okay? Free 7 to 973-221-9552, okay? And that would give you free access to our apps for 7 days. Exactly what to do. Don't have to think about it. All right, gang? And if you have NT more, okay, questions, if you have any questions, please type them. I will be on here for another 50 seconds if no more questions come in. If questions come in, I will stay on and answer those. But I want to truly thank you for giving us your time. I want to thank Courtney Roselle for giving us her time and sharing so much value with us tonight. All right? And I want to shout out to those that tuned in tonight. Trey, thank you, my man. It's been a while. Hope all is well with you and the fam. Ebony, thank you so much for tuning in. Mayday, thank you so much for tuning in. Gita, thank you so much. And I want to shout out to Melissa S. behind the scenes, doing a fantastic job of getting all of the cool stuff, who is our producer of the show. All right. So shout out to Coach Leah as well. Thank you all for doing such a fantastic job. And shout out to the JCF gang. Love you all. All right. You all have a beautiful evening. All right. Make sure you tune in next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Same time and place. Take care. Have a beautiful evening.